What drove you to saying that, "Do you know what, that's it, I'm going"?
Yeah, getting evicted, relationship.
Romantic relationships can make or break your business. And I also believe that there's seasons. So sometimes it might be about the woman. Sometimes it might be about the man.
I disagree, to be honest. I feel
What's
like
the effect?
women's love is more temporary and conditional based.
Okay.
It's based on what a man can do for them. And men love unconditionally. Cheating has nothing to do with how a man really feels.
So how do you think cheating on a woman makes her feel?
It's been put out there that obviously cheating is bad, but women and men have been misinformed.
This is the Promisingpreneur podcast. I am Aahliyah Amerat, and today I am here with Jaye Parson from Jaye Parson.
Thank you.
Jaye is a long-time friend of mine that, honestly, we lost touch for about a good 10 years. And he popped up on my Instagram one day with a picture. I think it was with Eryka. And I was like, what? Jaye? What's he doing now? And an all-round creative from early doors. I'm talking from when I was... when did we meet?
2010, 11.
Yeah, literally. It was the day before my birthday. Was it my birthday was going?
Yeah,
going...
it was outside Bagel King. Yeah, I remember. And I was with Frost.
Literally. And from that point, I remember going to Shoreditch. We used to go to Shoreditch all the time. We used to be up in the fabric shops. We used to be in the leather shops. Like, you've always had a thing for leather. And now you design. You do bespoke pieces.
Yep.
Paint. Tell me, who is Jaye Parson? And then who is Jaye Parson, the brand?
Well, I would say I'm a creative thinker, someone that's always find ways to express himself through different avenues, whether it's music, writing, designing, but someone that just wants to put his ideas outside into the world. And you know, for myself, everything starts with myself. Yes. You know, because I'm not really a talker, and that's how I communicate with the world and people, is through my art. So yeah, that's who I am basically.
So I love that you said that, because I'm massively an advocate of people having their selfish reasons why they do something.
Yeah.
There's always an impactful reason, and a reason why you want to do it, to help others and do this. Yeah, that's all great.
Yeah.
But being a creative, our outlet is our creativity. Whatever we're going through, whatever we're feeling, whatever we're thinking, as you said, the way you express is through that art, right? Yeah. So you said you done music, right? Design. What came first?
I'd say the music came first. Yeah.
And what was it about? How did that happen?
It started in school, to be honest. Like having being a fan of like grime, that kind of grime era, Dizzy Rascal, Wiley. Then it formed more into like an indie rock R&B kind of sound as I got older, if that makes sense. So as I matured, being a fan of music as a whole, different kinds of music. So I kind of formed my own genre from that inspiration. And I met up with like producers like Protege. I met Frost through my sister, as my sister used to teach dance, because Frost used to be a dancer. Yeah. So that's it really.
Man like Frost.
Yeah.
So you went from being in music, what was it that you was doing, right? Because why is it that music is not what you do today full time? What happened? Politics.
Bad management, not understanding my lane as an artist, and just me falling out of love of the politics side of things, if that makes sense. And yeah, kind of put a strain, and it made me frustrated as an artist. So I had to take myself out of that equation and disappear, and then come back.
What does that mean?
So at the time, I was doing the music, and things weren't going my way in that kind of direction. I took a break and I moved to Canada. So yeah, I had to do some soul searching, and then I came back and kind of reinvented myself, and now I'm doing the fashion.
So if I was to say to you, or you said, like, the way you express yourself is through your creativity.
Yeah.
Right? What was your childhood like for you to have the need to be creative?
To be honest, I've always been a creative anyway. I feel like every child is born an artist, but as a youth, I used to hang out with like a different type of crowd of people that didn't really complement who I was inside. So I kind of felt like that kind of deterred me away from my creative side, but I had to like cut loose of like my old crowd and be more of the person I was becoming, if that makes sense.
That does make sense, but how did you, number one, did you identify as a young person that you was in the wrong crowd, or did other people identify that for you?
A bit of both, to be honest. You know, just getting into trouble, family not being obviously happy about my decisions, and like it was kind of pointless at the time. Like I kind of saw like the bigger picture, and yeah, but I don't really regret it because it was something that kind of got to go through, I guess.
And it makes you,
Yeah.
it makes you who you are today. So when you say that you broke away, right? What was it? What was the heartache? Was it family issues? Was it road life? Was it like, what was?
It was just like, I don't know, like you just get to that stage of, okay, you're surrounding yourself with different kind of people, if that makes sense, and it's like, that's what I feel like. That's what's the difference between someone that's on the roads and someone that's not. It's like their access to being around different social groups and seeing, oh, I can do this, I can do that. Some people don't have a choice, where I felt like I always had a choice because obviously my sister, she was a creative before me. She used to be like a professional dancer. Like she used to dance for like Justin Timberlake and Estelle and people like that. So I felt like I always had options, if that makes sense.
A positive role model.
Yeah, yeah. And I met people like Frost, who I know was doing good things in the community. So it's like I positioned myself around different people. I never was like fully in something, if that makes sense. So yeah.
And have you ever wondered what your life would be like if you did fully go in?
Just probably in prison, or I don't know, getting stabbed or shot, death.
I mean, you laugh, but I think that's what's crazy.
Yeah.
Like the option is you're in the ends, you're doing what you're doing, and the only way is out is completely break away from everybody you know.
Yeah.
Or end up shot, dead, prison, going down this route. So what reflections have you ever sat down and reflected on that? The fact that you had the option and you took the better route. Have you ever thought about that? And what does that come out in your creativity?
I always reminisce, you know. So, yeah, I always think about what life could have been like. But I try not to go backwards in life. I try to move forward. So
for those that are currently in a state of despair and they feel like there is no way out, what is the reflections what is your learnings? What's your reflections? Because
what's my advice, you mean?
Not necessarily your advice. It's more your reflections, because your story is what will be the advice, as opposed to outwardly advising somebody. People don't listen to advice. And that's the facts, right? People listen to stories and then relate themselves within those stories, and they're like, oh, actually, yeah, I could go down that road, or I could go down that road. But if I don't do that, I could end up like him. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? That's why I don't really ask I don't really ask people to give advice. I do sometimes. It could be something specific, right? But when it comes to life, I don't feel like people can give life advice. I feel like you can give your stories, and people take what they want from that, relate to it or doesn't. So I want to know what your reflections were of that time of your life. If you'd gone through, if you'd just gone through that thought process, and what it means to you to not be there anymore, or to not be shot dead or in prison.
To be honest, that part of life was fun as well. It had good things about it, you know.
And that's facts.
Yeah, I don't really have. Yeah, I don't really have any bad memories apart from getting stabbed. I got stabbed, so that's kind of a bad memory. But it's not bad because I'm still alive. So it just happens, isn't it?
I think that's quite interesting. That it just happens. Why does it just happen?
Because, okay, like if you're in a fight with someone, you've got to be prepared for the worst, if that makes sense, because it's like life and death. So, yeah.
Don't you find that sad?
Not really. War's sad, you know. People dying every day, that's sad, but I feel like as people, we choose when to be sad and choose when not to be sad. People die every day, so it's like this life, innit?
Do you feel like your life experiences have made you think this way? Bear in mind, I'm saying that because I was recently having a conversation, just to give you context why I'm saying that. I was recently having a conversation, and even with Poppy, the last podcast that we done, we was talking about death, and we was talking about that death puts perspective, that gives us instant perspective. If you think about the war, if you think about the huge tragedies that happen in life, technically speaking, even though getting stabbed is bad, it's still nowhere near as bad as missiles flying out of the sky.
Exactly.
However, do you think that some people can use that in a bit of a cynical light? Do you think that makes people cynics? Because it's like, well, it's not that deep. Because I'll be honest with you, I'm very much like, it's not that deep. Whatever's happening to you, it's not that deep. And I've done an episode before, and everyone's like, go through depression, it's not that deep. No, it's that deep. And it's not that I'm saying the situation or the feelings are not terrible, and it doesn't hurt, and it doesn't cause pain and all that kind of stuff. However, that perspective that I hold on life, I feel like is more beneficial, which it sounds like you have the same kind of.
I feel like physical pain doesn't hurt more than emotional pain and mental pain. So people can get over like a cut, but mentally, you know, it's harder to get over something that's mental. So yeah.
What do you think? Is there anything in your life that you feel like you mentally have to get over?
Just, I guess, your relationship with life and people, if that makes sense in itself.
So I know that you mentioned just before we come on air that before you went to Canada, you was in a relationship.
Yeah.
And that was one of it was a contributing part to you wanting to leave.
Yeah, I guess so. It all happened at the same time, and I kind of wanted a fresh start coming out of a relationship. You kind of want to take time out for yourself and reflect and get ready for the next chapter.
What impact did, what drove you to saying that, do you know what, that's it, I'm going?
I bet everything. I was getting evicted.
From the place you was living in?
Yeah, from the place I was living in Lewisham. So, yeah, getting evicted, relationship problems, music problems with my label and stuff like that. So I felt like it was time for like a new fresh start.
Because you were signed with the music?
Yeah, I was signed to, Mega Man had a label at the time, and Frost was my management as well at the time. So yeah, I just wanted a fresh start. Things weren't going well in that aspect, because it's like, being an artist is one thing, but when you're in like the music business, it's like two different things. So yeah.
Yeah, we've had a few people within music that have shed a lot of insight into what the industry's like.
Yeah.
So you went to Canada, and then what happened?
What happened in Canada?
Yeah, so what happened when you went?
Wow, that was just, to be honest, it was just like 2 years of just partying. Literally. Like,
2 years of partying?
2 years of partying.
Learn anything?
Having fun. And I didn't learn anything, but it was nice to be around my family, because I didn't understand what having a cousin is, do you know what I'm saying? Because I didn't have no family in the UK, apart from like my mum and my auntie and my sister. Do you know what I mean? So it was nice to be around cousins that were my age, and they were like my friends, but they were my family as well. Yeah. So that was cool. So
I've been traveling before, and I've come back, and everyone used to ask me, what did you learn by being out there, right? That's why I was like, did you learn anything? And I always used to say to him, I didn't learn anything. Like, what? I didn't go, what was I learning? However, what I found for myself was when I came back and was faced with certain situations, I handled it very different to how I handled it before I left. Did you find that?
You know what, when I came back, I felt like I was more focused and like over everything, like over like partying, like women and stuff like that, because I felt like I got everything out of my system. So I mentioned to you before that the first day I came back to London, I started my fashion brand. Like literally at the same night I came back, that's when it started. So like I came back kind of like focused and on a mission.
So tell me about that. How do you get off a plane and the same evening and end up starting a fashion brand? So
okay, basically I got invited to an after party in Tape, London, because at the time there was a rap group called Rayshamid, and they had the #1 hit single in the world, Black Beatles.
Oh mate, that was...
Yeah. The mannequin challenge and that. Yeah. So they had
mannequin challenge, that's what it's called.
So they had a song called Black Beatles. Frost was doing like filming there.
Okay.
He was doing the filming for the event there. And he invited me there. And I was wearing one of my bespoke like punk rock biker jackets that I was wearing, that I designed anyway for myself. And I was at this event, I went to the toilet, and then I bumped into Swae, which is a member of Rayshamid. And he was like, oh, I like your jacket. He kind of stopped and he was looking at me and he's like, I like your jacket. Where'd you get it from? I was like, I designed this. Like, do you want one, kind of thing? Like, I was trying to, you know. And then he was like, yeah, are you gonna be here tomorrow? Like, come back tomorrow. And then, long story short, I was trying to think, oh, what jacket can fit this guy? He's kind of small. You know what I'm saying? He's kind of like an extra small. So I was thinking, what do I have in my wardrobe that will fit him? Yeah. So I brought 2 jackets, but he ended up taking the one that he saw me wearing anyway. And then he wore it, and then he exchanged my Instagram, and he said, yeah, I'm gonna tag you, I'm gonna show love. And I didn't think anything of it. But the next morning, I woke up to like messages, followers and stuff like that, and people asking about the jacket. And he wore it on his UK Black Beatles tour. And PrettyLittleThing.com commercial. So yeah, he wore it literally throughout the whole tour.
He loved that bloody jacket, didn't he?
So that's how I started. That's what sparked the idea.
So when you woke up in the morning and you saw that, what was going through your head?
I was just smiling. I was just thinking, yeah, this is kind of cool. Yeah.
So you're saying that that's what sparked the whole fashion journey. You was doing it before anyway, just for yourself?
Yeah, I was doing it for myself, like literally, because I just like wearing my own shit. Like I like to put my touch on it. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I see things like, how can I make this better? Like, what would I do with this? So that's how I think naturally.
So then so tell me how you, I mean, everything you've just said was just, someone could turn around and say right time, right place, like right place, right time, right? Would you put it down to that, or would you put it down to the ability for you to show up and speak out? Because there could be someone that will get that same opportunity and they'll be like, oh, thanks.
Yeah, and that's it. Nah, you see me, I'm like the most confident, shy person you'll ever meet. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, you got to talk up, you got to speak up, innit? And certain opportunities arise, you got to take it. And I felt like I capitalized of the situation and turned it into something, I guess.
So did you ask him to wear it on the tour, or did you just go, like when you went to meet him the next day, what was that process? What did
He
you
was
meet him
like,
for? Did he ask him something?
Yeah, he's like, obviously, I presented him 2 jackets and I was like, yeah, like, wear it, tag me and stuff like that, you know what I'm saying? Like, show love and that. And he was like,
is that the way you spoke to him?
Yeah, of course. Like, how else am I going to speak? Do you know what I'm saying? He's a rapper, innit? I'm not going to talk to him like any other. Do you know what I'm saying? So, yeah, that's it, really.
So then, okay, so what happened after that? How did you capitalize on this momentum now? Now that you've got all of this, like this extra following and people are asking you, what was your next step? How did you
It's just designing and bringing out new ideas, new jacket concepts. Because it's like, okay, you're a designer now, I guess. So, yeah, I just made new jacket ideas and it worked as like a domino effect. And Ashanti's manager was coming into the country and he saw my jacket on Frost's page. So he's like, oh, who's that? Who's this Jay guy? Can you get him to make something for Ashanti? She's coming over. And then 3 weeks later, I made a jacket for Ashanti. I was on her tour, on stage and backstage, just meeting her mum, you know, all the dancers. Like, it was pretty cool.
You love that, didn't you? You love that.
Yeah, so, but yeah, that's how it happened. And after that, I met Eryka Badu through like an event organizer, made her a jacket. I met her like 3 times, so that was cool. And then Tory Lanez DM'd me, said, I want to meet you, let's hang out. And he took me on his tour. I ended up styling him. So yeah, that's how it worked, literally. Like
Which one? Because I went to a few of his events.
It was like 2018. Yeah, 2018, and he came for like Wireless, and he done like various shows. Yeah.
Wicked. So
when he was bald. Yeah. That era.
And he was jumping off the flipping.
Yeah.
I think I went and saw him in Amsterdam. And man was doing monkey ropes on, I don't know where the hell he was. And I was like, what the heck is he doing? Like, why are you doing that? Gonna jump on top of us. So you went from, I mean, living your best life in Canada. How was you sustaining yourself out in Canada?
I had like a lump sum of money before I went Canada.
Oh, okay.
And I was doing like odd jobs.
In Canada?
In Canada.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it really.
Yeah, no, fair enough. So, because I know when I went away also, for me to be able to stay out as long as I did, I had to do odd jobs. Like I would randomly do, I remember randomly working in some backyard bar.
Yeah.
for like a little, I can't remember what's the Thai money called? Bud.
Bud.
Or baht.
Okay.
Yeah.
Where was this, sorry, again?
Thailand.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's on one of my bucket lists.
Thailand is amazing.
Yeah.
I went travelling and I was supposed to go, so I went China, Cambodia, Thailand.
Wow.
And I was supposed to go to Laos and Vietnam. Laos and Vietnam never saw me because Thailand saw me majority of the time.
When did you go?
2017.
Okay.
So I went from beginning of January and I came back on my birthday, 14th of May.
Wow. That's sick.
Yeah. That was a brilliant time.
Can imagine.
But same as you, it got on top. Before I left, everything was just, it felt like everything was on my head. And I thought, fuck this.
Yeah.
I need to get the fuck out of here. I'm booking a one-way flight. And I booked a one-way flight to Thailand and a return flight from China. Ask me how I was getting to China. No one knew. But she still went. And then somehow I was like, okay, well, for me to get back to London, I need to go China. So I need to find my way to China along this journey.
That's wow. Was you by yourself?
Yeah.
Wow. That's brave.
Yeah. Completely alone. I don't obviously I don't know anybody in China or anything like that. But it was the most liberating experience to just be in a whole nother country, not have a clue what anyone is saying, let alone like nothing. I didn't know anything. I didn't know how. There was a point where I didn't know how I was gonna get a hotel for the next night.
Serious.
And I stayed in one shack, and there was one big fuck off beetle on the bed. Oh my god, the beetle on the bed. Yo, I left the beetle with my suitcase in the shack.
Serious.
And I went and walked on the beach.
Did you meet any friends there?
Loads.
Yeah. That you still speak to today?
Not on a regular basis, but like when I announced that I was pregnant, every last one of them.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God, Aahliyah! Because obviously, you know when you meet someone, and you meet them in a particular capacity, and then like a life changing thing happens, like your pregnancy, their responses was just like, I feel like I've watched you grow. Yeah. Basically. And in some sense, they had, because where I was when I first went to Thailand was broken. It was like shattered in pieces.
Why?
Relationship.
Yeah.
Ex-relationship. My business at the time was like, it was doing really well, to be honest with you, but it was just me. I had interns at the time, but they were just interns, so they would come in and kind of do the role. Actually, they weren't interns, apprentices. So they'll do the time that the government was obviously paying for them. And then when they'd left, it was kind of like, shit, this is all me. If I don't do this, it shuts down. Or like, not it shuts down, because I was making a decent whack of money. Like, I'll be honest with you, it was a really good time in business. But it all relied on me. If you're enjoying this podcast so far, this is only going to annoy you if you're a hater. Click subscribe, click follow, and drop a quick comment. And if you've done all of those already, then send me a 5-star review, because honestly, it's the only way we survive on the internet. Thank you. If I didn't correct the fact that this business relied on me, I would be in solopreneurship for the rest of my life. And solopreneurship is great. However, it's glorified business. You work ridiculously long hours. Everything relies on you. You have no freedom of time. And you have freedom to do what you want to do. However, you end up realizing that you're doing it because you need the money, not you're doing it because you could just go to sleep and you've got the money there. Do you know what I mean? You're not doing it for freedom of time. You could do what you want. You've got the freedom to do what you want, but you just not freedom of time.
Was you enjoying yourself though?
I think I was enjoying myself. Yeah, I was enjoying myself. I got a flat at the time. I had a flat, I had a car, I had a relationship, I had a business. Everything was very like, not perfect, but it was the way it's supposed to be. Does that make sense?
But was you enjoying what you was doing?
Yeah, my business. I'd always enjoyed the freedom to do what I wanted, how I wanted it, every day. So like some days I'll go training in a college, then the next day I'll be training somebody in my actual office. The next day I'm training a bunch of young kids. The next day I'm doing motivational speaking. Like I had a lot of freedom and I loved that. And everything I was doing, it was beauty, it was fashion, it was about that. So, which, you know, that was very much me as a young person, right? But I didn't enjoy the fact that I didn't have the freedom of time. I didn't have the choice of going to sleep. And so in my head business, I go to sleep, I wake up and there's money in my account. So if that's how it's supposed to be, why am I wake up in the morning and there's no money in my account? I got to work. Yeah. And then at the end of the day, there's money in my account.
Yeah, exactly.
So I'm like, oh, something's got to give. So that I was getting really tired. And it was very much, you're working off the momentum and off the back of the fact that you're making a decent amount of money. And I think I was 19, 20. No, I was 20 at the time, right? So I was young, making a decent wage. So that was great. Great for showing face. But not great when it all falls on top of you. Because you've got the pressure of making sure that you open up that salon. Yeah. You've got the pressure of making sure that you're paying your rent. Yeah. And your car rental. And all of these like adulting things. Yeah. It's all on top of you. But then what was the straw that broke the camel's back, honestly, was my relationship. It was I wanted more in that relationship and I wasn't getting more. And when I wasn't getting more in that relationship and it started kind of breaking down, I couldn't handle it emotionally.
What did the person want?
To party, to do linear life. But my life wasn't linear. I ran a business. Yeah. So I don't go to work and get 28 days off and in those 28 days go on holiday. Yeah. And then I don't live that life. Yeah. Do you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, I don't live for the bank holiday. I don't live for the weekend. Every day is a weekend. If I don't want to do something today, I'm not going to do it. If I decide to work on a Sunday, I'll work on the Sunday. Do you know what I mean? And it was the difference between our lifestyles and priorities. Yeah. My priority was making the money and putting the money in a potential house. Yeah. Not making the money and buying Gucci trainers. Yeah. And that was the kind of like, I mean, I understand it because we was young. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Like in hindsight now, I'm like, bro, he was just living his best life. Yeah. I hear that. And obviously me being a female, want to be married and I want a house and I want this and I want babies and blah, blah, all of that shit. Cool. But because I didn't know nothing other than that relationship as well. Yeah. So when it was breaking down, I didn't know what to do. It was either, okay, I want to go traveling. You can't go traveling because you're in this job that you're trying to progress your way up to. So if you leave now, then it's like you coming back, it will be, you'd have to start again. Like you don't get sabbatical or anything like that. You're not taking a year out of uni kind of thing. So it was like he had to make the choice. So either you explore the world and travel or you do the linear life that you was meant to live. You do the job, you progress in your job, you wait for your 28 days holiday or whatever it is. Do you know what I mean? Me, I wanted to just get up and go. And I had the freedom to do that.
Do you think the ultimatum that you gave him was unfair?
I didn't give him an ultimatum. Oh. I didn't give him an ultimatum. But without you giving somebody an ultimatum, you can feel it. So if our paths are starting to deter away from each other, there is a natural repelling that happens. Yeah. But in my head, I wanted to keep that. I wanted to keep it because it's all I knew.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then as I'm trying to hold on to it and keep it, but it's naturally just going in separate ways, I guess there was a part of me that felt like I wasn't strong enough. I wasn't strong enough. I knew I'd find somebody else, but I didn't want to find anybody else. And that was like the catalyst, right? Because I was like, no, this is the person that I've been with. This is the only person I want to be with. I can't be with anybody else because I've been with this one person. And then it got to a point where I was like, fuck it. Like, I mustered up the courage and the strength and said, you know what, I want to go travelling, so I'm going to go travelling. You can stay here. And I left. And it was that kind of, that moment, I remember it was around Christmas time. It was that moment, and then the new year was coming. The new year was coming, and I turned around and I said, I'm not going into the new year not knowing what this relationship is. Because I'm happy, if this is it, this is it. I'll go about my business. I want to go travelling anyway. I'll go to my travelling, I'll do and live my life, do what I'm doing. However, he didn't want to leave at the time either. So, do you know what I mean? I mean, a lot of...
Are you lot still friends?
We haven't spoken at all.
Wow.
Just haven't crossed paths. What do you think? Do you feel like? So why are you asking me these questions about relationships? I feel like you wanna get into relationships.
You brought it up.
What? No, I'm just telling you why I left.
I'm interested.
So, I think it's a really, really beneficial topic because I think romantic relationships play a massive part in business. Romantic relationships can make or break your business.
You reckon?
100%. Because it can make or break your life.
No, that's true.
So if I didn't go traveling, I wouldn't be half the woman I am today.
So do you feel like in relationships with two people, you have to be selfish then? To do what's best for yourself, even though it's two people?
I think there is a compromise. And if there isn't a mutually beneficial understanding and agreement between the two of you, it gets to a point where you do have to look out for yourself. I believe that there's always a mutually beneficial agreement. It just takes compromise on both sides. And I also believe that there's seasons. So sometimes it might be about the woman. Sometimes it might be about the man. Depends on the season that each of you are going through, right? What gets difficult is when both of you are going through a mad season. Because then it's like you really have to put in strength to stick together in the time that you're going through individual situations, right? But I definitely do think that there is a level of compromise that has to be taken into account and understanding of how life works. Everyone's life works in waves. Do you know what I mean? Sometimes you're up, sometimes you're down. And if both of you are down at one point, you need the strength and you need something else that's going to hold you because love isn't enough, right? And then when so say I'm up but my partner's down, it's my responsibility to support my partner. If he's up and I'm down, it's his responsibility to support me. I personally think that's the point of a relationship.
Say that again. Say that last bit again.
I feel like if I'm up and he's down, it's my responsibility to support him. And then if he's up and I'm down, it's his responsibility to support me. I feel like that's the agreement that you go into. That's the unwritten rule of a relationship, is that we're supposed to support each other.
I disagree, to be honest. Interesting.
Why?
I feel like you can't make someone happy if they're not happy within themselves. Like, you can't physically do that.
No, agreed. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying that if somebody is down and you're not down, you have the ability to support them, no?
To a certain extent, it depends. But if it's mentally, you can't really do that. It's impossible.
Couldn't you support them by encouraging to support themselves?
Yeah, but you can't force people to do anything. They've got to want to do it for themselves, or they're never going to do it.
100%. But that's different. I feel like that's like, if someone doesn't want to help themselves, there's nothing you can do with that. I totally agree. However, in a relationship, when two people are together and you've decided that this is the person for you or whatever, right? I feel like the unwritten rule is that if I'm up and you're down, I can't just stay up and leave you down there. What's the point of me being with you in the capacity of a relationship? Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, if I'm just your friend and I don't see you every day, I don't really know what's going on, like you haven't really told me what's happening, then it's not my responsibility because I don't really know. However, if I know you're down, I believe it's my responsibility to support you in however which way I can. And I believe it's my partner's responsibility to do vice versa. Ain't nothing gonna happen if I leave you down there to rot. I feel like everybody has the ability to encourage somebody else.
Yeah.
You might not be ready to take it, but that doesn't mean I'm not gonna give it. And I feel like the problem is, for me personally, a massive problem would be if you see me down and you've done nothing about it as my partner. You're not the person for me. Why do you think otherwise?
It just depends, really. It's like there's different levels in being up and down. And as I said before, like if it's financially, spiritually, like if it's financially, that's different. But if it's internally, then there's not much you can do, you know,
so if you
to save someone. If that's how they feel, that's how they're always going to feel.
And they don't have the ability to change the way they feel?
You can, but it's like, if something's embedded in someone's head that this is the way this person is, like, you shouldn't waste time trying to convince them that this isn't it. If your actions isn't like good enough, if that makes sense.
Okay, so do you think that you would basically with the question that you asked me, would you look out for yourself before the other?
I think when I was in a relationship, it's like, it's a two-way thing. So like first relationships are kind of different. And I feel like men and women kind of love differently, if that makes sense.
Kind of.
Yeah.
Boy. Y'all from, what is it? Women are from Mars, women are from Venus, men are from Mars.
Yeah, by John Gray. I have that book.
Definitely the truth. So when you say that we love differently,
I feel
what's
like
the effect?
women's love is more temporary and conditional based.
Okay.
It's based on what a man can do for them. And men love unconditionally.
Okay. Do you know what? I actually understand. Actually understand that a lot of men might think that.
I think most men think that.
Why?
Experience, life, listening, pattern.
Listening to what?
Just scenarios and obviously experience.
So you don't think that women have the capacity to love unconditionally, or?
They love their kids. They might love their dog or their cat. But I feel like to a woman, men are disposable.
And women not to men? Women are not disposable to men?
If a man loves a woman, then no. If he doesn't, then yeah.
So then if we're looking statistically, the ratio of how many men cheat on women?
Cheating has nothing to do with how a man really feels.
So how do you think cheating on a woman makes her feel?
Obviously, it's been put out there that obviously cheating is bad, but women and men have been misinformed for years and years. Sorry, hold on. We've been misinformed.
I'm laughing at her.
Monogamy is mainstream, innit? So.
I'm laughing at her. I'm laughing at my production manager at the back of the camera. She's like, huh? Huh? Because I can see it from the side of my eye.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you said that cheating is misinformation.
Yeah. It's got nothing to do with how a man really feels about his woman. It's more of it's like a manly thing.
That's interesting. So why is it then, so you are heavily based, you talk about the mental effects, right? The mental effects of something being detrimental. So the effects of a cut on your arm is not the same as the mental effect, right? What do you think cheating does to a woman's mental?
I guess it knocks her confidence, puts her down. It makes her mistrust her man.
So then how...
Especially if they've had that agreement.
What, as in an open relationship agreement?
No, obviously...
or you mean a monogamous relationship?
Yeah, a monogamous relationship. But I don't think that's the man's fault because he's been built up to believe that's the way forward. And that if you cheat, you're a bad person.
So you don't think that the mental effects of the woman from cheating is not bad? So you've just said the mental effects of somebody cheating on a woman lowers her confidence, her self-esteem, everything you just said.
Yeah.
That's not bad, no?
It is bad because how she's been brought up to think. It's a bad society.
Interesting. So what would you say is...
If
you got cheated on...
Get on.
If you got cheated on...
Yeah.
How would you feel? Would you be okay with it?
It depends. Like, obviously, I've been, like, in a relationship with a girl and she's like, yeah, this happened on holiday. She told me about it and I was just like, it's cool, innit?
Okay.
Fair enough.
And you were still with her and everything was calm and you didn't mistrust her or you just moved on?
Obviously, I trust her to be herself.
Okay.
Yeah, that's how I trust people.
Yeah.
Humans are going to be humans. I don't put them on a pedestal. Do you understand? So that's how I get along with people. I trust you to be you.
So there's a part of me that actually understands that because humans make mistakes, right? Humans make mistakes, and if we all appreciate the fact that all humans can make mistakes, we won't be upset when a mistake is made. We would more so understand that the mistake was made if there is remorse, right? Now, the way you was just explaining cheating was kind of like a don't really have remorse in it. That's just the way I am, so just accept it. And is that your thought process?
I feel like people need to do more things with their chest and that they need to actually be who they are as a person. And don't be afraid of being human. So then
so why couldn't you just then say at the beginning of that relationship, I would like an open relationship, rather than be in a monogamous relationship and hurt the next person?
I just feel like in general, people, you see when you're first meeting someone, like you want to impress them, like you say like certain things to get with that person, repressing who you are as a person. I'm not speaking how I was when I was younger because I didn't have these same thoughts.
Yeah, I guess is learnt behaviour in a sense.
Yeah.
But my understanding of where you're at now, is cheating, and it's a man thing.
It's not. Yeah, it's cheating.
But But my thing is, why can't you then just say at the beginning of that relationship?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I'm trying to have an open relationship. I'm trying to do what I want to do. Don't be upset.
It's only cheating if you've told the woman like we're gonna have a monogamous relationship, and then you do the complete opposite.
So is that okay?
No, that's not okay. That's being a liar.
But then that's cheating.
Yeah.
There is no other definition to cheating other than you lying.
Yeah.
Because an open relationship, it's okay for you to sleep with whoever you want to sleep with or have romantic relations with whoever you want to.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not a problem because you've got that agreement.
Yeah.
Right? But cheating, personally, is a fucked up thing.
Yeah,
because you don't need to.
Mm-hmm.
Because you can. There's more than enough women in this world that's happy to have multiple men. And each one of them do different things for them. Mm-hmm. You do that for me, you do that for me, you do that for me. I'll give it all on a bun.
Mm.
Right? So, what is it? But then if I'm now going to solely say, I'm with you, I will give you everything. I will provide, cook, clean, do this. I'm not saying that is a woman's role, but that is naturally a maternal thing to do. We will cook for our man, we will clean for our man, we will do this, make our house a home, blah, 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 right? We'll do all those things for you. And our arrangement, our relationship is a monogamous relationship. I give you what you want and you give me what I want, right? So you're saying a transactional, like it's transactional and it's, as you said, it's conditional love from a woman.
Yeah.
Right? So if that person now doesn't do X, Y, and Z for me. So if my partner now doesn't support me when I'm down, right? So he doesn't support me when I'm down emotionally or like encourage me in the best way that he can, right? If he doesn't do that, are you saying that I should, or it's okay for me to go and then cheat? Because if it's okay for a man to just go and cheat, it's okay for a woman to know.
Man and woman are not the same.
We're not. Of course not. I agree with that. But does that mean that you can do something hurtful instead of just not be a liar?
Say the last bit again.
Does it mean that it doesn't mean that a man, just because of the way you're set up, yeah? Because there is a part of me that does understand that cheating for a man is different to cheating for a woman. A woman cheats emotionally, more so than anything. A man cheats with his dick, unfortunately, right? I get that. However, what I also get is a man also knows right from wrong and what's going to hurt somebody and what's not going to hurt somebody.
Yeah.
Right? And then there is a level of, you know, the old school saying, you do what you want to be done to you. Right? There's truth in that.
Yeah.
If you don't want to be cheated on as a man, right? There's no way that it's okay for a woman to then not cheat and be like, basically be, we are different, right? Because I'm not trying to say that we are the same. However, what I definitely do know is that it's not okay for one and not okay for the other. That can't be. There's certain things that can be in that aspect, right? Because we are different. However, cheating hurts, whether to man or to woman. Periodically, because it's a lie. Lying to anybody, even if you're lying to your mother, it hurts.
Yeah.
Right? And cheating is lying.
It is.
So, I'm just trying to understand what's okay for a woman to do in your perspective. If we are conditional, and you don't give us what we require,
then you're welcome to do what you want to do. You're welcome to be free and find your happiness. It's got nothing to do with me. You deserve that for yourself. You owe that to yourself.
And you feel like,
if you mean it, you should do what you want to do and not look back.
I feel like someone's looked back and tried to come back in the woodworks, and you're like, no, you made that choice, bitch. Stay there.
Yeah, man.
How do you think your relationship with women have impacted your life?
It's an honest one right now and a free one. and I'm in a good space.
Do you believe in polygamy?
Polygamy? Yeah, if it works for you, but to be honest...
For you?
For me, yeah, I thought about it. I've been thinking about it for a few years now. But like, I like my space as well. And I feel like sometimes one is enough. I've tried to have 2 girlfriends, but like, it was too
too emotional?
Yeah, it was too time consuming as well. Because I like my space. I like my quiet time. I like to just chill and just do nothing. Do you know what I'm saying? So it's like, if I'm, do you know what I'm saying? So everyone's going to always want attention. If I'm not with this one, she's going to, do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's time consuming. So I don't think I could physically have 2 or 3 girlfriends.
So
unless we was all living together, that would be, I don't know, I haven't tried it before.
Constant threesome. Bloody heck,
There
mate.
you go.
Do you know what's funny? Like, we talk about business on this podcast. We talk about so many things. Like, this is the last guest episode that's going out this year. Like, that is what's crazy. And we're leaving it talking about relationships, which I think is genuinely really important. And kind of just understanding it from a male's perspective is really important for women, but it's also really important for, I think, really important for me. Like, I just like to unpack and really understand what the different perspectives of people, the different perspectives of people. Because it's like, that's the only way we increase our knowledge. That's the only way we learn. That's the only way we're open. That's the only way we're understanding, right? And it's like, I might not agree with it. However, I don't feel no way in allowing somebody to think whatever they think. Do you know what I mean? Because it's your life experiences that's brought you to this point.
Yeah.
And vice versa. Like, my certain life experiences, I don't know. There's a part of me that just feels like I understand humans are humans. However, humans are humans in the same respect that everybody knows what's right and what's wrong and what's hurtful, what's not hurtful. Therefore, you go and do something that's hurtful, knowing that it's potentially hurtful, then you're just being a dickhead. Do you know what I mean? Like, but I think the whole conditional and unconditional thing is very, very interesting, and I think it's a whole topic of conversation. Like, genuinely, I could really go deep into that. I really could.
She's agreed.
However, yeah, because it's true, because this, it's just, that is a massive topic to unpack. However, this is not for that. What I might do is create
a round table.
Yeah, come next year. I said I was going to do a round table. Didn't end up doing it for this year's season. But for next year, I feel like I'm changing up the way that I'm doing the podcast based on the fact that I'm going to be on maternity. However, I am committed. I'm committed to staying consistent. So I'm going to do what I can. Meaning, I'm going to do it via Zoom or some. Next year, you'll see whatever's happening. I don't know yet. But next year, something's going to happen, whatever way that is. But in the midst of that, I would love to have roundtables.
Cool, that sounds good.
Because I think just general discussions about life is really bloody interesting.
It is.
It is. And different perspectives and stuff. But if I was to round it off and ask you this question, I want you to actually give advice now. Yeah. If I was to say to you, for any creator, right? You are down and out creative. For any creator out there that is more hand based, right? Like, you make things. What would be your biggest teaching that if you knew when you first started, what you would what you know now, what would you change? Did that make sense? Sorry, I kind of just went all around the bloody bush.
Yeah, it kind of did. From what stage of my life, though?
Any.
What would I change?
Yeah, if there's do you know something now that you didn't know when you first started that you would change? Like if you do, like I wish I knew this when I first started, it may have made things a lot easier, or is there any kind of learnings that kind of stands out for you basically?
I wouldn't say change, to be honest, because I felt like I didn't plan it anyway, if that makes sense. I didn't plan this to happen, so sometimes you just gotta go with the flow, and like you gotta like things that like you back, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does actually.
That's my advice.
Like things that like you back.
Yeah.
Same as women, innit?
Don't force it.
Yeah,
don't force it.
Jay, a huge thank you for coming on today.
Thank you for inviting me.
I appreciate you taking out the time, and I know you had a good up time in Malta yesterday, so you're currently still in sunny mode. I mean, I really need to be in sun right now. Anyway, a massive thank you for being the last guest of this year.
Thank you, man. It's an honour.
Which is a milestone day, to say the least. And I appreciate that you brought a little bit of controversy into that.
Oh, really? Did I? I didn't know. I was just talking.
You see the comments go off. How dare he say that?
Wow.
But yeah, a massive thank you for everyone listening. Be sure to go and check out Jaye Parson's page. Obviously, everything will be tagged, and look at his amazing designs. Honestly, his bespoke pieces they're decent. I can't lie, they're decent. And my decent is brilliant. So, yeah, huge thank you. Lots of love to you.
Thank you, man. Love always.
Let's speak soon.
You was just listening to the Promisingpreneur podcast. I am Aahliyah Amerat, and thank you so much for listening all the way through. Don't forget to click subscribe and share to at least one person, because that's the only thing that's going to fuel us to carry on.